Hey, it's your buddy Tim Schell here, and we are doing another Raid Shadow Legends video. And I'm kind of excited about this video because I'm going to do a couple things. The first thing I'm going to do is right after the intro is I'm going to address some of the issues I had with my Magnarr and Sir Nick video. So hopefully if you had any questions about that, you can check that out. But then I'm going to go in to the top 10. I'm going to count them down from 10 to 1, which are the things I think are most impactful of small things that I think Raid could do to make the game much more enjoyable for everybody. So if that sounds appealing or something that you'd like to see my opinion on, go ahead and continue on. And then leave me a comment below if you have some ideas as well, because I would like maybe to do a follow-up. Maybe we'll do top 10 things that I didn't even think of that were way better than my top 10 things. So yeah, check it out. Okay, so before I start the video, I lit off something of a firestorm in my video on Sir Nick versus Magnarr, in that I didn't match their gear perfectly because I thought I could make some adjustments based on Sir Nick's base stats and some of his utility versus Magnar's utility. And it just so happened, as you can see here, we have Secret Room 2 and Doom Tower Hard is an HP champion only. So I'm able to put Sir Nick and Magnarr in here. Now what I did, I ran this earlier with their original gear on, where Sir Nick had his Savage gear and Cruel gear, and Magnarr had his gear that from the video that I did, his crit damage, high crit crit rate, and high crit damage set on, and I switched those around. So basically, I put Magnar's gear on Sir Nick, and Sir Nick's Savage and Cruel set on Magnarr, and you can see those stats have changed since the first video. So basically just swap their sets. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to start this run, and then I'm going to flip over to the screenshot I took of the first run I did, which you can see here, where I got my Thea, the Tomb Angel fragment on the first run. And let me get out of Ursaga's way here, but you can see Magnarr did considerably more damage in the set that he had on before, which is the set that Sir Nick has on right now. So if the gearing were an issue, what would happen is, now that I've switched their gear, Sir Nick would either do more damage or Magnarr would do less damage, or something like that would happen. So let's go ahead and I'll flip back to the run. Hopefully neither Sir Nick nor Magnarr dies. They can finish the run and we can see what happens when this gear gets flipped and who would do the most damage, because we saw Magnarr did more damage in his original set, which was the 100% crit rate, 230 something crit damage, and Sir Nick in the Savage and Cruel set. So now Magnarr has on the Savage and Cruel set, and Sir Nick has on the 100% crit rate and 230 some crit damage. So really all we're hoping for here is that stinking Mortu Macabre doesn't go all peril on us here and murder us. Oh, yeah, okay, so that's okay. Murder Luden something or other. Okay, so here we go. So we're gonna finish, and hopefully we put this to rest. Now, I've run this a few times, so I kind of know what happens. And so I'm not going to be super surprised, but you might. But anyway, you know, I got a lot of feedback on it, and I appreciate that. I'm not really one to fight back against feedback, because I think the feedback was correct. So, and I want the right information to get out there. So when I tell you that I think Magnarr is a harder hitting HP champion than Sir Nick, I want that to be correct. And we'll see if it is or not, because I think that with this change, there can be no doubt who is the hardest hitting HP champ between these two. So let's see. We're almost done. So I appreciate everyone who did give me feedback. Continue to do that, please, and you will see in that video I tried to respond in a very equitable way as well. And that's what created this intro after my intro. Okay, here we go. What do we got? Yep. So let's look at the original one. There's the original one with Thea the Tomb Angel Shard. Magnarr 912, Sir Nick 668. Flip it back. Magnarr 960, Sir Nick 586. So Magnarr actually had worse gear on. But this also tells me I was pretty darn close with those stats. So anywho, I hope that's helpful. And now we can get on to the top 10 things that I think Raid can do. Just little things to make the game great again. Okay, check it out. Okay, so number 10, and I'm going to move myself over here because I think number 10 is on the other side of the screen, and I didn't want my fat head to block it. So number 10 for me on the top 10 things that would make Raid great again would be to upgrade the market. So right now, when you get past probably level 20, anything in this market is ridiculous. Like, no one's buying anything in here. The only reason anybody goes here is to hope to grab an ancient shard or possibly to buy your mystery shard to complete your daily quests. But after about level 20, no one is buying anything in the market. So my suggestion to Raid would be, hey, starting at level 20, maybe you could have 5 tiers, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, or whatever. You could tier them anyway, but as you move up in the game, these things start to get A, more expensive, obviously, and B, much, much better. So the market actually becomes useful. And maybe when you hit level 100, that you could actually pick up a sacred shard or some void shards or some legendary gear. Now, obviously, those should be really expensive. And I would think that would be right up Raid's alley, right? You get to incent people to increase their account. You get a silver sink here where people are just going to drop tons of silver to get sacred shards and things like that. But I think that would be a pretty easy thing to do. And that would be my number 10. Okay, number 9. I kind of like it over here. I think maybe the view is definitely better, but I think maybe I'll be less in the way over here. But anyway, we're going to do number 9 from over here as well. Number 9 might not seem like a big deal, but I think it's pretty important. So number 9 to me would be, right now you can sort by these things: rank, level, rarity, affinity. I'm not even sure what rarity does, to tell you the truth. Didn't seem to do anything. Rank, rarity, level. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what all these things do, but what I would like to see is you be able to sort by the type. So you could do, hey, I want to see all my HP champs, and I want to see my defensive champs, and I want to see my attack champs. I want to see my support champs, right? And I know they can do it because in Doom Tower, they sort by that anyway. They say this Doom Tower secret room is, this affinity and support only, or epic only, or whatever. So it'd be nice if you could go in here and sort by type, and then maybe there'd be a sub menu and you can select that and it would sort all of your characters by type. So that would be number 9, and let's move on to number 8. Okay, so number 8 is kind of in the same line, and now I know why I don't sit over here, because you can't see any of the champion stats if I sit over here. But number 8 is similar to number 9 in that I wish, and maybe I'm the only one that has this problem, but I constantly am looking for champions, scrolling by and trying to do factions and rarities and levels and affinities and whatever, right? And it just gets tough. But what would be nice is if you could search alphabetically, and maybe they would even have the letter up here. So if I wanted Prince Kaimar, I could hit a P and he would show up in this top thing and I could just select him, right? So seems like a silly thing, but it would actually make life a lot easier, especially, and that would happen everywhere, right? So when you were in dungeons and looking for different characters, you would have just a little alphabet up here and you'd be P or Siffy or especially some of the epics that you're looking for that are way down here, right? You would just hit the letter and it would sort it alphabetically. So that's number 8. Let's move on to number 7. Okay, again, number 7 seems like a trifling matter, but again, I think it would be helpful. And don't freak out. I know I have a lot of brews, but it's regarding the brew animation. And I think after level 50, I've seen enough of having to load in 6 brews and then, watch him do his dance and then skip to the next one. After level 50, just let me go to whatever level I want. You take as many brews as you need to get to that level, and let's move on and be friends. I don't need to see the animation anymore after level 50. So that would be number 7. Okay, number 6. Number 6 is regarding artifacts, but kind of along the line of the brew thing. It would be nice if instead of when you do a bunch of farming, you fill all this up, you hit the just new, you go through and you sell whatever you need to sell, and then you got to go through one at a time, upgrading, upgrading, upgrading. It would be nice if there was an upgrade all button, and you can say, I want to upgrade everything that I haven't sold here to some level, and it would just upgrade them all and take whatever silver you need. I would even allow it to run its animation, although I wish it wouldn't. But I would like to upgrade everything all at once, and that would be my number 6. Okay, number 5 is in regard to the saved team presets. They either need to have more diversity or they need to give us many, many more slots. So this is the saved team presets that shares both dungeons and Doom Tower and some other aspects of the game. I think Faction Wars as well, right? So whenever you want a preset, and you can see I have my dragon team, and then I have sort of this new team that I was creating, then I have my clan boss and my fire knight, my nether and griffin, and some other ones that I'm just playing with. But between all the bosses and all the dungeons and everything else that you want to put together, there's not nearly enough spots here. So they either need to have one of these for Doom Tower and one of these maybe for each rotation of Doom Tower, right? And one of these for dungeons and one for Faction Wars. So you can just pop in a preset. You don't get limited and constantly have to redo the presets as you go. So that would be my number 5. Okay, number 4 for me, number 4 would be being able to set the preset on champions rather than on teams. So I wish, and I don't know where the button would be. Maybe there'd be a button on the top here, or a button in the stats or something that would allow you to set the preset for that champion. And obviously you wouldn't necessarily need to do it for every champion. You could let the AI run, but there are a couple of, let's say, expert champions that you could just set the AI. You don't use them for anything else but maybe one piece of content, and you just want them to do something. And every time you have to drop them into the preset team, you have to redo the AIs on the entire preset team, and that's no fun. So it would be nice if there was a AI button in here somewhere to set for those champions to do what they need to do. And that would be my number 4. Okay, my number 3 would be back to the save team presets. My number 3 would be the ability to move champions around in the save team presets without having to drop them back into the champion pool. So right now, I can't, let's say, here, I'll show you. So this double Uragrim team I was running, right? So I'm running him in the lead because he's got a speed aura. But for some content, like let's say I wanted to pull out, well, actually she can stay in there. Let's say I wanted to run Zavia in the lead because she has a attack and she's not quite getting enough damage, let's say on the waves. So I wanted to pop her into the lead to take advantage of her attack aura. You literally can't do it. You have to just delete the whole team and rebuild it with all the AIs. So I would like to see the ability to move champions without destroying the save team preset in that menu to make life easier. So that would be my number 3. Okay, we're getting down to it. This is number 2. And number 2 is a little bit out of sync with my other ones, but it's something that I think about a lot, and I wish I had the information. And I'm thinking maybe they could put it into this menu somewhere. Maybe there'd be a little tab that would say interactions, right? And it would list how all the interactions work, right? How crit damage gets calculated, what happens during weak hits. And I know it would have to be pretty thorough, but they could build it and they could make it work. How multipliers work, maybe even have links to where, what champions do multipliers where. It would just be a nice tab to go to understand how uh, interactions work. And I'm not even sure how detailed you would need to get. Like, for instance, Tormund will freeze you when you buff, but he won't freeze you if you put a block debuffs up, which I didn't know that until you sort of experience it. So, and maybe even it could be like a wiki, and people just put in their own interaction, and they could sort of moderate a wiki page here where people talk about player interaction and champions. Yeah, so a little off topic, but I think that that kind of understanding, maybe even have a little section for some of the acronyms we use. But yeah, I think that would be pretty helpful for everyone. So that is my number 2. Okay, we are down to it, down to number 1, and we're back to the artifacts. And my number 1 suggestion to Plarium to make Raid great again would be, and you might think I'm crazy, but I think this would be the coolest feature, would be to have a button here that would help you rank all of your saved gear based on the substat. So for instance, you would say, I want to see, from top to bottom, the gear that has the most speed in the substat. And the highest speed one would be down here, and the lowest speed one would be down here, and you could do that. And you could even break it out. Okay, I want to see the highest speed, that also has crit rate, or the highest speed that also has crit damage. So not only could you do the filter, right, where you're saying, okay, I want to do primary and substat, but the substat here will only give you speed. I want to see it ranked. I want to find that triple roll, or whatever that I did, and I'm waiting to enchant to put on my Siffy that I have already forgotten where it is. So I want to be able to find that again. So I know that might seem like a screwy thing, but I think it'd be super, super helpful, especially when you're trying to build champions with the best thing you have. And especially like crit rate, right? I want to see the highest crit rate stuff so I don't overshoot my crit rate, because the last item I found just has 9 points too much crit rate, but everything else is perfect, right? So I don't know. I think it'd be super helpful. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you think that there's other things I should have included, or my number 1 is crazy, or yeah, I look forward to your feedback, and we will see you on the next video. God bless.